Okay, so we are in record and we're starting today. Welcome you all in this class. Let me share my screen first. Yes. Are you seeing my screen? If you see my screen, please raise your hands. Yes, thank you. Thank you, I got the message. Then today we are going to discuss on language, its features, and its different variables. That's why with introduction of the language and the linguistics, at the first we have to know what is language and what are the different aspects of language at the one. That thing we are going to discuss today. So before discussing about the language, what is language, you need to define yourself. What is life? Because everyone has the life. Everyone running our life, we are just having. And what is it? For that one, please, you are allowed to put your views. There I'm giving you one space. Just in your mobile, type www.menti.com, or just I will copy this item. Just I'm copying this. And see in the message here. तपाईको मेसेजमा एउटा लिंक आयो होला है, सबैले त्यो लिंकलाई क्लिक गर्नुस् र क्लिक गरिसकेपछि after clicking this one, yes, क्लिक गर्नुस् www.menti.com र त्यहाँ तल कोड माग्छ, त्यो कोडमा 82646113 हाल्नुस् सबैले है। र त्यसपछि त्यहाँ what is life भन्ने क्वेशन आउँछ. Then you can write the three answers. What is life? How do you think about the life and how do you define the life? You will get the three options that you can write the three answers. त्यसको लागि तपाई एकछिन जुमबाट ब्याक भएर www.menti.com हाने पनि हुन्छ अथवा मैले दिएको लिंकमा क्लिक गरे पनि हुन्छ। र त्यसभन्दा पछि यो कोड हाल्नुस्, जो कोड तपाईहरुले यहाँ देखिराख्नु भएको छ 82646113. I'm giving you 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Then what is life and how do you define life? It will come in the screen here. Are you getting? www.menti.com टाइप गर्नुस् तपाईको गुगलमा गएर। त्यसभन्दा पछि यो कोड हाल्नुस् 82646113.
सर यो तीनटैमा एउटै हान्ने हो?
हजुर,
तीनटै ओमा
you can हैन तपाईले एउटा
ओरमा के एउटै पिन कोड हान्ने?
त्यो तपाईले तीनटा अप्सन पाइसक्नु भएको छ हैन? तीनटा अप्सन पाइसकेको ठाउँमा कोड हान्नु पर्यो नि। तपाईले लिंक क्लिक गर्नुभयो नि हैन? लिंकबाट जाँदा सिधै कोड हान्नु पर्दैन। यदि लिंकमा नगएर menti.com मा जानुभयो नि यो कोड हान्नुस् र यदि त्यो तीनटा अप्सन पाउनु भएको छैन, व्हाट इज लाइफ, त्यहाँ डेफिनेसन लेख्नुस् लाइफको बारेमा। व्हाट इज लाइफ, व्हाट डु यु थिंक द लाइफ? Someone can think life is journey, life is a struggle, life is these things, like you can say. So write down in the words, and whatever you write down I will find here. Okay? Yes, life is struggling. Great. ल अरु लेख्दै जानुस्, अरूले पनि लेख्दै जानुस्. Life is a gift. लेख्दै जानुस् है, लेख्दै जानुस्. You can write the 3 definitions of life yourself.
मेरो मात्र
एकजना लाइफ इज स्ट्रगलिङ लेख्नुभयो, अर्को लाइफ इज अ गिफ्ट भन्ने आयो. ल लेख्दै जानुस् तपाईहरुलाई. आई एम गिभिङ यु टाइम. लिङ्कमा क्लिक गर्नुभयो भने कोड हाल्नु पर्दैन, सिधै तपाईले लेखे हुन्छ त्यहाँ 3टा अप्सन दिएको ठाउँमा. Any problem? Do you find the link? Yes. Life is the gift of God. Life is a natural process. Life is the journey. Yes, keep on writing, please. Keep on writing. Whatever you write there, it will come in my screen. Yes. Do fast, do fast. Just I'm giving you 1 minute more. 1 minute more. Just write down, just write down. Go to the link and write down. Yes. Keep on writing, please. लेख्दै हुनुहुन्छ? कतिजनाले लेख्दै हुनुहुन्छ अहिले? Raise your hands. How many you are writing there? Yes.
के भन्नुभएको? म त भर्खरै आएको, केही पनि बुझेन.
तपाईलाई मेसेजमा एउटा लिंक आएको छ.
हजुर.
जुमको त्यो लिंक क्लिक गर्नुहोस्. लिंक क्लिक गरिसकेपछि त्यहाँ व्हाट इज लाइफ भन्ने आउँछ. त्यहाँ तपाईले 3टा अप्सन हुन्छ लेख्ने. You can write the 3 things there. You can write 3 things, or you can write 1 thing, or you can write 2 things. Only write down and submit there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Life is birth and death. Yes.
हजुर
Yes, life is mine to enjoy. Great. Any other, please, you are writing, otherwise we'll stop here. Okay. So if you are writing, keep on writing. There we know we define life in the different ways. Like you are defining yourself, you know that. Like you are defining the end that's coming in my screen. So life is struggling. Life is the gift of God. Life is mine to enjoy. Life is a natural process. Life is birth and death. Life is the journey, or life is a gift. So we define life in the different ways, or not? We have the same life. We are living, but we are seeing the life in the different options or different ways. Like someone thinking life is the struggle, that I'm struggling. For what? And why I'm struggling? And what are my struggling points that you know who is doing, who is having on this, or known about the things. Like similarly, someone defines life is mine to enjoy. Means that's related to me, not to others. This is my personal property. Life is my personal property that is defined in the way. Like someone define life as a gift. Out there is life is the birth and death. Like life is the journey, and life is a natural process. This means we are seeing life into the different ways. And the thing that I want to connect here is language is connected to our life. How are you living? How do you define the life? In the way you need to define the language. Because language has the direct connection to your life. Or not? We human beings communicate. We are communicating now. We are just updating things now. Oh, due to this coronavirus, what happens? What the situation of Surkhet, what the situation of Kathmandu, what the situation of the world, that we are just having the communication. We are knowing these things, we are communicating these things, and we are connecting these things to our life or not. This means everyone, we people are doing everything, whatever we are doing, that's for the life. So language is also connected to our life. Language is also part of our life. So this way, yeah, I would like to say you, whenever you are defining language, you need to connect language with the life. This is the life part. This is one of the most important component of the life. Note down this point. So the language is the most important component of our life, without which we may not think about our happenings, about our doings. And now let me share some definitions, some understandings, and some views regarding to the life, regarding to the language one. This time, I will stop this. And here I found a different definition by you different people about the language. Like 5 people participated here. I hope the many people's participation, but there might be some problems to you. Leave that. Okay, so now let's discuss about the language. Now we discuss about the life. So the language is what? So just we can define it into the different ways. We can have the different perspectives, different perception or different options. Like here, language is what? Language is the system of communication. Just you can take the example now we are having. I'm giving you something, you are perceiving something. Yes, this means we are developing the system of communication. I'm talking with you because you people can understand. I'm using English language with you because you people can understand English. If you people can understand English, I don't use English language. If you people can understand Chinese, French, and other languages, I will use that kinds of language as well. We are using this for the communication because that is understandable. We can understand each other. So language determines the system of communication. Because we know the parts of that, we know the components of that, we know the levels of that. Just we understand English because we know English vocabulary, we know English grammar, we know English sound system, we know English sentence structure, we know the English context. That's why we are using English. We are using Nepali because we know the different systems of Nepali language also. But why don't we use Chinese? Why don't we use Japanese? Why don't we use Italian language? Because we don't have the system of communication of that language. That language they have the system of communication, but we don't know. How can we communicate in that system? What is their grammar? What is their vocabulary? How the context is arranged? We don't know. But we know about the English language. We know about Nepali language. That's why we are using this. That's why the first thing is language is the system of communication by which speaker can speak and receiver can understand. Just you can take the example of here. And similarly, language is the system of sound and symbols. Yes, we are using language. This is what means this is not a bigger one. This is just a combination of different sounds and the symbols. We use different symbols. Like we are writing A, B, C, D. Are the symbols or not? Whenever you are writing, like here it's Resma Buddha, whenever you are writing your name, you write R-E-S-H-M-A. And Bimala, you write B-I-M-A-L-A. This means what? You are using the different symbols to write your name, to represent your name. Then whenever we are pronouncing the names of everyone, we use the sounds that we are speaking now. So this is the system of what? Sound and symbols. This means what? You can analyze in other perspectives. Language has both speech and writing. We speak and we write. This is the system of the language. Language has the system of speech and language has the system of writing. We can write, we can speak. That's why there is sound and symbols. Like next thing is language is not only written with the symbols, is not written only with the sounds, but with the sign systems. It's a sign language that you can see the people who cannot speak, they are using the sign language. And you are seeing in the news, whenever you are watching the news, one people is reading the news and other people using the sign language. This is for what? Means to make understandable to the other people who cannot listen. Who cannot listen? For those people, there is the use of signs. That is also the system of the language. The next thing, whenever you are walking on the road, you find one zebra crossing. There is the road. In the road that there is painting by white color. Then you find, oh, this is the place to cross the road. You understand or not? Then whenever you find some traffic symbols, no parking, you don't park. So whenever you find the symbols, no smoking, you don't smoke. This means what? From that we also can understand the thing. In the way, what we understand that language is for understanding the message. Language is to understand the message. And to understand the message, we can use the sign, we can use the symbols, we can use the sounds by which we can establish the communication. This is one part of the language that you have to know. Don't forget this. Similarly, language is the expression of thoughts. Yes, how you express your thoughts, what you want to express with someone. I'm thinking one in my mind and I want to express, but I don't know any language. How can I express? Suppose I'm in China. I have different perception and different thought in the mind about something, what I found in China, but I don't know Chinese language, and the people around me don't know Nepali and English language. Then how can I express my thought? I cannot. At the time, I cannot express my thought because I don't know Chinese and these people don't know English and Nepali language. So the language is must. Language is must for human beings. That's why I connect this language with the life. You are writing, life is struggling. Life is my property. And similarly, the language is the same. And this is the medium to express our thoughts. Next thing is medium of expression of ideas, the same thing. Whatever I know, I can express with the language. If I don't know the language, if I don't have the language, then how can I express? Like that I express the language with the feelings of different, there is also matter coming, cultural and the social identity. Yes. Like for example, if someone says you, Beli Baha Aya Hu, so how many people can understand? If someone asks, Tim Koile Ago, Beli Baha Aya Hu, that if we don't know the songs of that languages, बेली भने के हो बाहा भने के हो मैले थाहा पाइनँ भने त मैले बुझिनँ नि त. So how can I express my ideas then? Then I will be confused if I don't understand. अनि कहिले गएको त छकालै बाइ गए भन्दियो. What is छकालै बाइ गए? Means we have to understand the terms of the languages also. By this thing, what we have to understand is language is total social, language is cultural, and language is the medium of the expression that we express our ideas, our thoughts, our thinkings. So by these all points up to here in cultural and social identity, we have to understand that language is the cultural and the social property. Note this thing. Language is the cultural and social property by which we can communicate. This means all what? Means language is just the medium of expression. Whatever we know or whatever we want, that we want to express. And that comes out by the language. Next thing, co-elements to share, exchange, and communicate ideas. Yes, this is the co-elements of the language. Sharing things, exchanging ideas, and communicating ideas. Next thing is called the voluntary vocal system. That is the human communication. That is the vocal system means vocal system. That is the limited definition of the language. Means vocal system that is written with spoken. No sign. Means that is terms of the limited definition of the language. This is the narrow definition of the language. language is the vocal system, but not always. There is sometimes sign system. There is sometimes other systems. And vocal system is also voluntary. It comes itself. Human beings, whatever I'm speaking now, I'm not asking to anyone. It comes voluntarily with me. I can determine the ways of speaking myself. Next thing is language is arbitrary. Yes, that's the difference. हामी यहाँ नेपालीमा कुकुर भन्छौँ, इङ्ग्लिसमा डग भन्छ, संस्कृतमा कुत्ता भन्छ. आखिर त्यो कुकुरै हो नि त. तर हाउ दे आर एक्सप्रेस्ड. हामी हिँड्दैछौँ, बाटोमा चाहिँ हिँड्दा हिँड्दै हामी कतै ठोक्यौँ भने अय्या भन्छौँ. इङ्ग्लिसको मान्छे आ गर्ला. दिस इज वाट, दिज आर द वेज अफ एक्सप्रेसन. हाम्रो चाहिँ ओनोम्याटोपोइक भन्ने हुन्छ नि. So onomatopoeics are the different by the languages one. एउटै चिजलाई पनि फरक फरक ढङ्गले प्रस्तुत गर्न सकिन्छ. जस्तो अघि हामीले भन्यौँ कुकुर, हामी नेपालीमा कुकुर भन्छौँ, आखिर त्यो त डगै हो नि. एउटा वस्तुलाई लाइक हियर इज द मोबाइल. यो मोबाइललाई हामीले कसरी भन्ने त, कसरी एक्सप्रेस गर्ने त? अनि कसैले चाहिँ यो त मेरो क्यामेरा हो भन्नेलाई यसको रिकग्नाइजेसन के हुन्छ, फरक फरक हुन्छ के. ठाउँ अनुसार, परिस्थिति अनुसार ल्याङ्ग्वेज चेन्ज हुन्छ भन्न खोजिया हो त्यो. द्याट्स वाइ अब हामीले के बुझौँ त सर्टमा भन्दाखेरि ल्याङ्ग्वेज इज द सिस्टम अफ कम्युनिकेसन which can make our thoughts understandable. Yes. The next. So by this way, we can say that we can define that we can make the different definition of the language. So you can read yourself. Okay, Sunita, could you read the first one? Sunita Sai. Sunita, are you listening me? Reshma?
हजुर सर.
Okay, please read this first definition. This is how the language is defined. Please, could you read yourself?
Yes sir.
Okay, so please.
Language. Okay sir. Language is the means of meaningful communication from which human being, non-human being share their feeling, emotion and situation.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. So language is the means of meaningful communication from which human beings or non-human living beings. हैन, किन भन्दा we human beings also communicate and other living beings like animals also have the communication. Just there I posted one question in your Google Classroom and Reshma wrote carefully that you wrote nice. So how can we differentiate between animal communication and human communication? An animal also communicates. There is bee communication. गाई कराउँछ, बा गरेर कराउँछ, भैँसी वाँ गरेर कराउँछ, चरा चिची गरेर कराउँछ. They also have the modes of the communication or not. And we human beings use own sorts of communication and they also use their other sorts of communication. But what? Means by the use of language, simply we share our feelings, emotions and the situation. So language is that medium. Language is that one. And by which there we get the meanings. And meaning पनि पाउँछौँ नि त त्यहाँ. यदि meaning पाइएन भने that cannot work. हाम्रो communication हुनु पर्यो. हामीले हाम्रो आइडिया, इमोसन, सिचुएसन फिल गर्न, शेयर गर्न सक्नु पर्यो. तर त्यो के हुनु पर्यो? Meaningful हुनु पर्यो. र there is also the case of the human communication and there is also non-human communication. And there is also the matter of the animal communication as well. Okay, so Sangam Chan, please read the second one. Could you read Sangam?
Language is a system by which we learn the different aspects such as grammar, phonology, meaning, and context.
Okay, thank you. So language is system that we define, that we talked up to. हामीले यो अगाडि पनि कुरा गर्यौं नि. Language के हो त? Is the system. के गर्ने system हो त भन्दा by which we learn the different aspects such as grammar, phonology, meaning and context that we learn from the language. we are learning English language, and we are learning the grammar of English. We are learning the vocabulary of English. We are learning different sound systems of English. That's why by the language, we learn the different systems or different aspects, grammar, phonology, meaning, and the context. Yes. Okay, I'm seeing next Priyanka. Could you read the third point about the language? Priyanka, are you listening me?
सुनेछ सर
Yes. So could you read this third point one?
हुन्छ
Okay, read.
Language refers to the causal identity that refers to personal and well as social framework with references to the causal recommendation.
Okay, thank you. So this thing is what means language is culture. The third point is what language is the culture. By which, just take one example. जुम्लामा बोल्ने नेपाली, सुर्खेतमा बोल्ने नेपाली, उता विराटनगरमा बोल्ने नेपाली, दाङमा बोल्ने नेपाली फरक छ नि त. किन फरक छ त भन्दा that represents their one cultural identity. Their social framework is the different. जस्तो हामी धेरै जसो दैलेखका, कालीकोटका, सुर्खेतका छौं हैन. जस्तो हामीले यहाँ वरिपरि बोल्ने भाषा बुझौँला हैन. तर टर्म्स त फरक हुन्छ नि त. जस्तो भनौँ दैलेखबाट आएको मान्छेले एक किसिमको टर्म्स युज गर्छ, उसको सोशल फ्रेमवर्क छुट्टै हुन्छ, सुर्खेतको सोशल फ्रेमवर्क छुट्टै हुन्छ. जस्तो भनौँ न पूर्वतिरको मान्छेले बोल्दाखेरि के गर्छ, यस्तो भएको र छ, यस्तो र छ, उस्तो र छ भन्छ हैन. अब दैलेखको मान्छेले आया हो, गया हो, कालीकोटको मान्छेले आया हो, गया हो भन्ला. त्यो फरक छ नि त. अनि आइरहेछ भन्ला कसैले. त्यो टर्म्सहरु फरक किन भयो त भन्दा ल्याङ्ग्वेज त आखिर एउटै हो नि त. We are using the same language, but there are the differences because language is also the part of culture. Language is also part of the society. So language is the social component, and this is the cultural identity that shows our cultural identity. That's why we shouldn't forget our culture, because they have the meaning. They provide the meaning of cultural recognition. And there is the social framework. We should round with the social framework. That's why the third part is what language is the social. Language is the cultural. Okay. So next thing, there is next thing also, and I'm seeing next person here. Okay, Sarmila, could you hear me? Sarmila Magar. Hello. Sarmila, are you there? Okay, please, could you read this point? Could you read this point? Where my cursor is? Okay, read this.
रामसित बुझ्यो हैन यहाँ त सर.
Could you read this? पढ्न सकिन्छ भनेको यो.
बुझ्यो छैन सर रामसित.
I think your network is not good. So, Jarana Neupani. Jarana. Okay, could you read this? Okay, please read this. This one, where my cursor is moving. Jarana. I think she also has network problem. Okay, Muskan Chetri. Muskan.
Language refers the cultural identity that we
Oh no, that is not. Next, I'm telling for this next point.
social framework with links to the cultural region.
Okay, thank you. I expected other points to read from you. Okay, so I will tell you. So language is the medium to link the person, community, society, and cross-cultural borders. Yes. That means what? Language is not limited to one group. Language is not limited to one person. It has the wide range. Yes. And it linked person to person. Just now we are talking each other. We are from different places. and it links community, it links society, and also cross-cultural border. Just we can communicate with the people in America, we can communicate with the people in Australia, we can communicate with the people in the different parts of the world if we know the language, if we can understand the language. So the next thing is, okay, Muskan, are you ready to read the last point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please
Language,
read.
language is the property of living being.
Yes, language is the property of living beings. Yes, this is our own property. Please keep secure itself. Your property is the language. Yes, so that by all these things, by all these terms, we understand that. So the first thing is language is the means of communication. Yes, and similarly, language is the system from which we learn the different aspects. Language is the culture. Language is the society. Language is the medium to express the personal thoughts, to go to the community, to go to the nation, to go to the international parts also. It's all points refer that language is the property of the living beings. That's why connect language with the life. Yes, connect language with the life one. So by this thing, I think you are seeing some of the feature of the languages, some of the characteristics of the languages one. Also जति हामीले डिस्कसन गर्यौं नि, हो त्यो डिस्कसन पोइन्टबाट अब हामीले के निकाल्यौं त भन्दा languages have the different features. Languages have the different characteristics. Likewise, you can see voluntarily vocal system, use of sign and symbols, representation of emotion and feelings, displacement, flexibility and change. Okay, I think this is the new point for you. Language has the feature of displacement. हामी कुरा गर्छौं नि, हामीले कति प्रकारका टेन्स पढ्यौं? Sangam, could you tell me the types of tenses? 3 types of tenses we studied: past, present, and future. हैन? Oh, displacement भने त्यो हो के? Displacement refers to that one. We can talk about the past, we can talk about the future, and we can talk about now. This means what? Language has the flexibility and language has the change. त्यो फिचरले गर्दाखेरि just we can जस्तो past को कुरा गर्दा हामी कसरी गर्ने त? We use the past tense. म हिजो बजार गए भन्छौं. म आज बजार जान्छु भन्छौं. म भोलि बजार जाउँला भन्छौं नि हामी. त्यो जाउँला भन्ने ठाउँमा म भोलि बजार गए भन्छौं त हामी कहिले भन्दैनौं नि त. किन भन्दा language has the feature of displacement. We can change the structure about the talking. हामी past को बारेमा कुरा गर्दै छौं भने past युज गर्छौं, future को बारेमा कुरा गर्दै छौं future युज गर्छौं, अहिलेको कन्डिसन बारेमा कुरा गर्दै छौं भने present युज गर्छौं नि. So language has the feature of the displacement. Means flexibility in the nature. So we can talk about the past, we can talk about the future, we can talk about now. So there we can find the flexibility in terms of the language one. Next thing is productivity and creativity. Yes. Just simply अब फेरि म त्यही ग्रामरको एक्जाम्पल दिएँ. सब्जेक्ट verb object भनेर टिचरले पढाएपछि हामी त्यही अनुसार अरु सेन्टेन्स ल मेक 5 सेन्टेन्स भनेर टिचरले पढाउनु होला नि सायद. टेन्स पढाउँदाखेरि एउटा स्ट्रक्चर सिम्पल प्रेजेन्ट टेन्स सब्जेक्ट प्लस verb 1 or verb 5 प्लस object. Okay, make 5 sentences भने चाहिँ हामी सेन्टेन्स बनाउन सक्यौं कि नै? Ram eats rice को ठाउँमा हामीले सीता goes स्कुल बनायौं नि त. हो त्यो के हो त? प्रोडक्टिभिटी हो के क्रिएटिभिटी हो. एउटा लिमिटेड स्ट्रक्चरमा रहेर अनलिमिटेड स्ट्रक्चर हामी बनाउन सक्छौं के. फाइनाइट एन्ड नन फाइनाइट यो भनेको कसले हो त भन्दा there is the highly focused by Noam Chomsky. We can create non-finite structure from the finite structure of the languages one. From the given structure we can produce the unlimited number of other structures. एउटा कुनै स्ट्रक्चरबाट हामी अनलिमिटेड स्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट गर्न सक्छौं. त्यस्तै अर्को ठाउँ अनुसार परिस्थिति अनुसार हामी ल्याङ्ग्वेजलाई मोडिफाई गर्न पनि सक्छौं. We can produce it. We can show the creativity in the language. But that lacks in the animal communication. तर त्यो एनिमल कम्युनिकेसन हुँदैन नि त. द्याट ओन्ली ह्यापन्स इन द ह्युमन कम्युनिकेसन. अब आर्बिट्रेरीनेसको कुरा अघि हामीले गरिसक्यौँ. द्याट मिन्स वाट इट सोज द फिचर अफ एउटै अब्जेक्टलाई फरक फरक ढङ्गले हामी प्रस्तुत गर्न सक्छौँ. एउटै अब्जेक्टलाई हामी फरक फरक रियालिटीबाट फरक ठाउँमा फरक रियालिटीबाट हामीले प्रस्तुत गर्न सक्छौँ. एन्ड देयर वी क्यान फाइन्ड द युज अफ ल्याङ्ग्वेज इन डिफ्रेन्ट ओनोमेटोपोइक वर्ड्स अल्सो. जस्तो अघि हामीले उदाहरण भन्यौँ, हामीले नेपालीमा के भन्छौँ? कुकुर भन्छौँ. आखिर त्यो त्यही कुकुर नै हो नि. इङ्ग्लिसमा हामी के भन्छौँ? डग भन्छौँ. संस्कृतमा त्यसलाई के भन्छ? कुत्ता भन्छ. हैन हो. अब एउटै वस्तुलाई फरक फरक तरिकाबाट रियलाइज गरिन्छ. प्रत्येक ल्याङ्ग्वेजमा फरक फरक हुन्छ. एउटा पार्ट त्यो भयो. अर्को पार्ट जस्तो हाम्रो कल्चर अनुसार आर्बिट्रेरीनेस भनेको कल्चरल पनि हुन्छ क्या. जस्तो हामी चाहिँ बाटोमा हिँड्दाखेरि बिरालोले बाटो काट्यो भने ओहो आज बर्बाद भयो भन्छौँ. अर्को कल्चरमा बिरालोले बाटो काट्दा आहो राम्रो भयो भन्छन्. त्यो पनि के हो? आर्बिट्रेरीनेस. सो इट सोज वाट they have the different realities by the terms of the use of language and the places. Next thing, means of communication that we know. And language is ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means universal. Language भने जहिले पनि युनिभर्सल हुन्छ. ल्याङ्ग्वेज नभएको ठाउँ छैन. ल्याङ्ग्वेज नजानेको मान्छे छैन. तर उनीहरूको भाषा फरक फरक हुन सक्छ. They may have the different languages. There might be the different places, but there is no place without language. There is no human being without language. Everyone has the language. And this is the universal feature, and that is must. And next thing is language is social and cultural. Never forget these points. You need to remember. Right? That I posted these slides in your classroom also, you can see. म धेरै बेर वेट गरे तपाईहरु नआएको देखेपछि आज सायद यो बत्ती पनि छैन, बत्ती नभएको कारण तपाईहरु नआउनु भएको होला भनेर यो स्लाइड र एउटा बुक मैले त्यहाँ पोस्ट गरिदिएको छु. द्याट इज द बेसिक बुक फर यु. जोन लाइन्सको ल्याङ्ग्वेज एन्ड लिङ्ग्विस्टिक्स भन्ने दुई बुक छ. हो त्यो बुकको युनिट फर्स्ट तपाईहरु सबैले पढ्नु होला. अर्को दिन ट्युजडे क्लासमा आउँदाखेरि युनिट फर्स्ट सबैजनाले पढेर आउनु होला. यस आई विल सो यु कहाँदेखि कहाँसम्म पढ्ने भन्ने म अहिले तपाईहरुलाई देखाउँला. देन द नेक्स्ट थिङ is what that we have to know very clearly in language behavior and the language system. Yes. अब यसको बारेमा that we will talk in our next class detailedly. अब अर्को क्लासमा कुरा गरौँला डिटेलली. हाम्रो टाइम पनि धेरै गइसकेको छ. अब तपाईहरु ढिलो पनि आउनुभयो. सायद अर्को क्लास पनि होला हैन. भनेपछि अब ल्याङ्ग्वेज सिस्टम र ल्याङ्ग्वेज बिहेभियरमा फरक के छ भनेपछि सिस्टम भन्दा बित्तिकै इन्टर्नल हो, बिहेभियर भन्दा बित्तिकै एक्सटर्नल हो कि है. सिस्टम भन्दा बित्तिकै एब्स्ट्र्याक्ट हो, माइन्डमा हुन्छ, र बिहेभियर भन्दा बित्तिकै एक्सनमा हुन्छ. र त्यसलाई त्यहाँ दुईजना व्यक्तिको फरक फरक कन्सेप्टबाट हामी हेर्छौँ. एउटा फर्डिनान्ड डी ससुर, हु इज नोन एज द फादर अफ द मोडर्न लिङ्ग्विस्टिक्स, र अर्को चाहिँ नम चम्स्की. फर्डिनान्ड डी ससुरले ल्याङ्ग्वेज सिस्टम र ल्याङ्ग्वेज बिहेभियरको बारेमा he talked about the two terms. Mind these two terms, long and parole. Yes, Ferdinand de Saussure, here you can find this term, long and parole. He talked. And similarly, Noam Chomsky talked about competence and performance in case of the language system and the language behavior. So simply what you understand that language, where is the language? Language कहाँ हुन्छ त? सोसाइटीमा हुन्छ. ल्याङ्ग्वेज हाम्रो माइन्डमा हुन्छ. ल्याङ्ग्वेज हामी प्रत्येक व्यक्तिसँग हुन्छ. द्याट वी नो. र ल्याङ्ग्वेज हाम्रो लाइफसँग कनेक्टेड छ. लाइफ इस्यु हो. ल्याङ्ग्वेज इज द लाइफ इस्यु. Means how can we define it? We define that one. And how can we connect this? That way. Likewise, in the language, what to say, what not to say, what is the social connection, what is the cultural connection, that everything is in the mind. मैले कहाँ कोसँग कस्तो भाषा प्रयोग गर्ने, कोसँग के बोल्ने भन्ने कुरा त that I know न. जस्तो तपाईहरुको मेसेन्जर ग्रुप छ नि, त्यहाँ कसैले के हाल्दिएछ, कसैले के हाल्दिएछ, कसैले के हाल, they don't know the language. This is not, because they are doing this, they don't know the language. कुन ल्याङ्ग्वेज कहाँ प्रयोग गर्ने त? मेसेन्जर ग्रुप बनाएको छ, के को लागि बनाएको छ? दिस इज फर फर्मल डिस्कसन। ए भात खायो भन्दैछ एउटाले, तिमीलाई निन्द्रा लाग्यो भन्दैछ अर्कोले, मलाई त आज निन्द्रै लागेन, के भयो भन्दैछ। दिस इज नट द युज अफ द ल्याङ्ग्वेज हैन। हो त्यो बिहेभियर मान्छेले किन देखाउँछ, त्यो कुन सिस्टम हो भनेर स्टडी गर्ने कुरा हो। त्यो भावनाले in our next class we will discuss about this, and before that please you all come by reading the concept of lung and parole by Saussure and competence and performance by Chomsky. किन भन्दा language is the system of the social phenomena, language is the behavior of the actualization, that is in the mind, that is in the action. दुईटा कुरा हामीले ख्याल गरौँ। एउटा चाहिँ हाम्रो केमा हुन्छ, ल्याङ्ग्वेज माइन्डमा हुन्छ, रिजर्भियर हुन्छ, एउटा रिजर्भ ट्याङ्की जस्तै हुन्छ। त्यो रिजर्भ ट्याङ्कीबाट हामीले कति पानी लिने भन्ने बारेमा, द्याट इज द एक्सन। one thing is in the mind, another thing is in the action. हो त्यही कन्सेप्टलाई फर्डिनेन्ड डी ससुरले लङ र परोलबाट हेरेका छन् भन्दा त्यही कन्सेप्टलाई नोम चम्स्कीले कम्पिटेन्स र पर्फर्मेन्सबाट हेरेका छन्। सो वाट इज द प्लेस कम बाई रिडिङ दिस, द्याट इज इन द बुक that I provided you. Then we discuss the ideas. And then after, okay, so this is all from my side today, and we'll discuss other parts in our next class, means in Tuesday. Before that, just I want to show you. Yes. हो तपाईले देखिरहनु भएको छ मेरो स्क्रिन हैन? Please raise your hands if you saw. If you see my screen. Okay. Muskan raised her hands. ल हेर्नुस् है, यहाँ दुईटा मेटेरियल मैले पोस्ट गरिदिएको छु। यो भनेको अहिले हामीले क्लासमा जुन डिस्कसन गर्यौं त्यही हो, र अर्को यो ल्याङ्ग्वेज एन्ड लिङ्ग्विस्टिक्स भन्ने बुक छ। You can download the books from there, or you can view the books from there also. तपाईहरुको बेसिक बुक हो र तपाईहरुको जुन सिलेबस छ त्यो सिलेबस सबै यही बुकमा आधारित छ है। You can check the syllabus also. यो सबै यही बुकमा आधारित छ तपाईहरुको सिलेबस। That is unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, like these things. All things are related with this book. है अब तपाईहरुलाई मैले कति काम दिए भन्दा यहाँदेखि यो ल्याङ्ग्वेज देखि तपाईहरु अर्को ट्युजडे आउँदाखेरि प्लिज यो व्हाट इज ल्याङ्ग्वेज देखि तपाईहरु कहाँसम्म जानु होला भन्दा पेज नम्बर 4, 5, 8, 10 पेज नम्बर 22 सम्म पढ्नुस्। यो फिक्सन अफ होमोजेनिटी भन्दा अगाडिसम्म 24 सम्म पढ्नुस्, किनकि तपाईहरुसँग आज शुक्रबार भयो, शनिबार, आइतबार, सोमबार 3 दिन छ। You have 3 more days, and आज सहित गर्ने 4 दिन छ। यो 4 दिनमा पेज नम्बर 24 सम्म यहाँसम्म पढ्नुस्। फिक्सन अफ होमोजेनिटी सम्म पढेर आउनु सबै जनाले। Do you agree? If you agree, please raise your hands. Yes. Okay. यहाँसम्म पढेर आउने। र यसपछि यो पढेर तपाईहरुलाई के कुरा लाग्छ, तपाईहरुलाई आफ्नो कस्तो अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ भयो भन्ने कुरा that you can add in the class comment. Just like I want to show, there I put one question. यस्तो क्वेशनहरुमा put your view or understanding on what is language and how it is different to animal communication. There is Resma Buddha put in very good way. You can put in the way. हो यस्तै तरिकाले you can add, हैन? रेशमाले गरे जस्तै अरूले पनि तपाईहरु आफ्नो एक्टिभिटी चाहिँ देखाउँदै जानुस्, गर्दै जानुस्। यो पनि पढ्नुस्। यो त्यति पढेर तपाई के बुझ्नुहुन्छ त्यो कुरा चाहिँ यहाँ लेख्नुस्, हैन? Just you can write on your copy and you can take photo and you can post here also. कपीमा लेखेर या फोटो खिचेर यहाँ हाले पनि हुन्छ। You can do that also. तपाईहरु पढ्नुस्, पढिसकेर यहाँ फेरि के गर्नुस् त, you can post here. do this thing and utilize this very much. र अब तपाईँको अर्को क्लासको लागि चाहिँ this is the same link, please save this. यही नै हो लिङ्क भने यही नै हो, मिटिङ आइडी यही हो, पासकोड यही हो. अर्कोको लागि पनि because म त्यो ग्रुपमा छैन है, that you don't get the message in that group, don't expect message in that group. Meeting ID यही हो र पासकोड यही हो. Save this and come on time at 7. Okay. Okay, so do you have any questions? Now your turn. How many of you did the attendance then? Yes, I got. Do you have any questions? You can speak. And you can, if you have good internet there, you can turn on your video because I want to see you. Yes.